Hi, everybody. This is Heather Coleman, intuitive medium, yoga instructor, Reiki and energy work practitioner, and also a past life regressionist. And today we are going to talk about soul contracts. This really is an extensive area. And so today we're just going to have an overview. But this is something that I think people tend to be very curious about, and it comes up a lot. In fact, nearly every reading I've ever done touches on this, whether or not it's an exact message or whether it comes up as part of what the reading is. So let's start with what is a soul contract. Well, a soul contract is when two or more souls make a pact before entering a life journey. So before they even come into the fetus, that they're going to have fill in the blank. So it can be a soul contract can be that we're going to be family. For example, our souls choose our parents, and so my children chose me just as I chose my parents. And when I made that choice, there is a signing that will happen, but the signing can happen in different ways. It depends on the soul and how the soul or souls work best. So sometimes there's a signing of an actual contract. It's usually on something that looks like a scroll, not papyrus exactly, but it kind of looks like that. There's usually like your favorite kind of pen. But sometimes the signing of the contract can be on a hologram because there's different ways, and things are very flexible in the spiritual realm. So just know this, a soul contract, there is something that is like a product, a visual product. Sometimes it can be done like a movie. And this is how life reviews work as well, by the way, in records of lives. There are, there's a word that I'm looking for, it's escaping me, but souls as well as angels that have the job of recorder. Recorders is a great word. That write everything down. Video camera, they well, it's not like our video cameras, but they record. But we don't have to use all those different forms of life review, life preview for that matter, or soul contract. It doesn't matter. So it's like however you work best. If you're more of a listener, maybe you make a little tape recording of your soul contract with whoever. I'm going to be your daughter, or you're going to be my roommate in college, something like that. So that's what a soul contract is. Sometimes people ask, well, can soul contracts be changed or amended? They can. Sometimes that's a conscious process. Other times, when a certain soul goes off path, off of their own path, they may unwittingly, or meaning not consciously, these souls may not even intend to do so, but they sometimes may break part or all of their soul contract, and we'll get to a little bit more on that. So the biggest soul contracts we could probably say are the big relationships, like your parents, your spouses. Spouses are contracted. They're charted on your life chart. They're planned. Significant friends, that kind of thing. Significant family members, coworkers. So these sorts of relationships. And so some of you, many of you, in fact, may be familiar with the term that people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And in fact, that's a really good way to understand soul contracts, with the understanding that the word season doesn't mean just one weather season. So, I mean, it can be, of course. It could be, that's a summer romance, like a summer romance. But a season can also be a season of your life. Maybe your teenage years is a season of your life, or maybe your middle age 10-year period. That could be a season of your life, a phase of your life. So, I like to say, instead of using the word season, lesson. So the main purposes for soul contracts are a lesson, a phase, or a life, or for life. Let's look at some more examples of that. Now, for life, that's, as you may imagine, people that are going to be your family, that they're always going to be in your life as long as one person is living. And that doesn't always even stop when they die. I mean, my dad died, I was just 23 and he was 54. We have a very close and frequent communication and relationship now, It's been 20 years. So my dad and I, our soul contract was he was going to stay on as a guide and he's more of like a friend now. But that didn't start until I think about 7 years or so after he died. Yeah, pretty close. He died in '03, so yeah, it started around 2010. But so that's a great example of a soul contract that is literally for life. I mean, it didn't even stop when his life died, right? So that's a great example of a soul contract that is for life. Now, a phase, we did touch on this a little bit, but a great example of a phase is maybe a marriage that doesn't last for life, maybe a marriage that lasts for 10 years, and you're getting divorced, and we might be asking why. We've got all of the more obvious why, like fill in the blank. Maybe that marriage is ending because one or both people were unfaithful, and there's bigger reasons for that, by the way. Maybe the two people are just finding that they no longer have as much in common. People can grow apart. People just, for some people nowadays, growing and evolving as an individual isn't always in alignment with the way the spouse is growing. And that there's no one to blame in this situation. If that's happening in a marriage and the marriage is ending, it's because the soul contract is expiring. So, in other words, soul contracts can be, like mine, I'll use mine as an example. It's written. They're showing me right now. I like writing 10 years for the first marriage, this many for the second, this many for the third. Listen, I'm not even in the second marriage yet. But that's how detailed contracts and lives are written. This many years for the first marriage. And not everyone has 3 marriages, but I'm just giving you a good example of how contracts can work. I'm going to give you a couple of other examples of soul contracts that are not necessarily for that long of a phase. I had a really good friend in college for about 2 years. We were very close. And then, not unlike what I was just saying about how marriages can drift when people's needs are no longer in alignment, the things that two people maybe need to do to continue to grow and find their path become different. And so that's where that friendship drifted away for me. It was 2 years. Another example of a soul contract is not so much a relationship, but an exchange or a gift of a good. And what I find really fascinating about how this can work is that we are not always conscious of this at the time. Things that seem random turn out not to be. And I'm going to give 2, or actually 3, what I find very fascinating examples of soul contracts that you would think may be random but are not. So again, I like to tell some of these stories from my own experiences about my college time, because I was not an open psychic medium then. I didn't know about any of this. And so it's a good example. Some of these examples are great for how these things work in our lives, even if we're consciously not even aware of the soul and the body, and that I wrote a life chart and all that. I wasn't aware of any of that back then. I went on a spring break trip to Myrtle Beach with some friends of mine during the senior year of college. And several of us, I think there were like 6 of us, were sharing like a big hotel suite. And we met some really friendly people when we were just out and about doing different activities. And we invited these new friends we made from another college to come and visit us and, listen to music. Just do what college kids do: listen to music, have fun. And so one of the guys that was in that group of friends we met left a jacket. He had left his jacket behind, and I did contact him the next day to say, you forgot your jacket. And he goes, well, if you can bring it by my work. And I said, I don't know if I can, because this was all soul charted. My car had issues that day and the next day. In fact, I had to go and get my car fixed, so I couldn't drive to his place of work. And then we were leaving, like pretty much right after my car got fixed, we were leaving. So he didn't really hunt me down for the jacket. And I kept it. It fit me perfectly. And what are the chances that a gentleman's jacket would fit a lady? That doesn't always happen. I have that jacket. Okay, that was early 2002. And so that's been over 20 years. 21 years. Is that right? Yeah, 21 years. I still have that jacket. It fits wonderfully. It's great for slightly colder and warmer weather. It goes with everything. It's black. It's actually a designer jacket. I have it to this day. I use it and I wear it. And part of my work, my psychic and spiritual work, led me to the realization that that jacket was not random. I had had another life where I encountered that soul, that gentleman, and I had done something to help him. I believe we were neighbors in a town, and I had done something to help him. And so our souls wrote at the conclusion of that life, he said, I want to do something for you in a future life because you did something for me. I'm going to give you this jacket that's going to serve you throughout your life. How about that? And so this is how that played out. We met this group of guys. We were having fun. It was spring break. We didn't really stay in touch with them. We didn't really see them after that. It was one of those absent-minded. It wasn't something where he said, hey, Heather, I want you to have my jacket. Nope. He just forgot it. He let me keep it. That's how soul contracts often work. I'm going to give you one more example of a soul contract. The owner-manager of ABC Sports and Fitness locally, his name is Matt. He's an awesome guy. Ooh, I just saw 1111. I had foreseen this because this happened like 8 months ago, and I was psychic then. But for 2 years before this happened, I kept getting a vision of Matt, the owner of ABC Sports and Fitness, literally handing me or like rolling to me a spin bike. And I'm like, I wonder how that's going to happen. And I felt that this was a soul contract. Well, 2 years after I first started having these visions, there was a post up from the gym that the gym was going to gift or sell, but I say gift because for a very low price. The gym was like, for our members, if you want a spin bike for just a couple $100, let us know. We'll let you buy one. We are upgrading. We don't need these they weren't old spin bikes because we're getting new ones, right? So I reached out, I called the gym. He said, sure. And the vision actually happened literally just as I saw it, meaning I drove over to the gym, pulled up in the back, and the manager himself and with one of the employees literally gave me the bike, loaded it into my car. And that was a soul contract, which is why I had been having those visions. That was written in, and there was a reason for that, because the spin bike came into my life exactly when I needed something at home that I could use for exercise. So the takeaway message from this is a challenge maybe for some of you to look a little bit deeper into your life. Pay attention to things that may seem like coincidences but are not. Notice, have you ever given somebody something and maybe not even realized the impact of it? Has somebody ever given you something and in the moment nobody would have foreseen the impact of that? If so, chances are really good that there was a soul contract. I hope today's video has brought something meaningful and insightful to you. Subscribe to my channel so you never miss a video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.